Today I'll be talking about some common misconceptions that people have about multifamily. Those of you that do not really understand what multifamily is, or somehow someone has communicated something wrong to you, this video is just for you to know some common misconceptions that people communicate to investors or to people about multifamily. Number one is that multifamily is risk-free. Just like every other investment, multifamily has its own ups and downs based on the market fluctuation. We saw what happened 2 years ago because of the inflation. Yes, it's inflation proof, but that does not mean that it does not have some significant effect on it. Or recession. If there's a recession, it might have some effect on the tenant ability to pay and all that. So it's not risk free, it has its own risk attached to it. So the market fluctuation plays a very big role in how the safety or the risk ability of a multifamily. This is a very interesting one. So there's a misconception out there that only the rich can invest in multifamily. In multifamily, there are different ways to invest. So you have the syndication, where people with smaller amount, as low as 50,000, can invest in multifamily. So it's not just for the very wealthy ones or the ones with a very high net worth or very high liquidity. It's actually for anyone that can afford to put down some little amount of payment to own equity on multifamily. So that is a misconception that you cannot invest in multifamily. The third misconception is high occupancy equals to high profitability. No, there's something in multifamily that is high occupancy, and we also have economic vacancy. So for the fact that you have your property 90 or 95 or 100% occupied does not mean that it's profitable. There are two things or some things that can make it not to be profitable. If there are high delinquencies, that is, so many people are not paying. Yes, you have them in the property occupying those units, but they are not paying their rent. You cannot say that's profitable for you. Also, if you're not catching up to the loss to lease, let's say the market is at $1,000 for one bedroom and you are at 500, that means you are losing 500. So that might not mean that you are profitable because you are not catching up to the loss to lease. These are some of the criteria that tells you that yes, for the fact I'm 100% occupied does not really mean that I am profitable. So get that. I've had some conversation with some operators or some team members that believe that managing the property yourself make it cheaper and easier to manage. I beg to differ, especially when you do not have the skills to manage it yourself. Managing property is a skill. You need that skill to manage a property. So it necessarily does not mean that you reduce cost by managing it yourself. So having the skills, because a property manager's one of their basic role is to ensure that to collect rent, and for high occupancy to ensure that that place is constantly full at every time. So if you don't have the skill to do it and you believe that you can do it yourself, manage yourself, you might end up spending a lot of money to manage that property because you do not know how properties needs to be managed. You might need to consider outsourcing it to a third-party vendor. And again, to give you the ability to concentrate on other things, maybe get more properties, do more investment and all that. So you necessarily don't need to do it yourself or manage your property yourself to make it cheaper. So some people say you can't go wrong with real estate or you can't go wrong with multifamily. Yes, you can absolutely go wrong with multifamily, especially if you buy in the wrong location. So location is one of the most important criteria you need to choose before buying. So you buying in the wrong location is a very big factor on how valuable your property will be. So location is very important, because if you're in the wrong location, you might not get the right tenants or the right demand or stability that you want for that property. So location is too important in a multifamily business. In short, in real estate in general, location is very, very important. There's also a misconception that people have that value add is very important for any property that is not brand new. I remember doing a webinar with some investors, and we told them that the game plan here was not for us to renovate the unit and increase rent, because that was not going to give us any return on investment because of the demography of the tenant, but that our value add was the services. The property had property management issues. They were not properly managed by the current owner. So that's the value. We're going to give them premium value. Customers service and all that. But it was difficult for them to understand where we're coming from. So for the fact that you're doing renovation does not equate to a rent bump. It doesn't. So you need to understand your tenant needs, what the location requires, and what will bring you that return on investment. So thinking that you can increase your rent and it automatically bring about return on investment, the two of them are not intertwined. You need to do your research and know exactly what the need of the property is. There's a very popular misconception that you can always increase rent. At least the last year and almost 2 years has shown us that rent can actually decline or it can remain flat. We've seen that happen in recent time, and that is why some deals are underwater right now, because of the misconceptions that I've always increased rent. Every year I will be able to increase by 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. No, it necessarily might not work that way, because multifamily works with the state of the economy, works with the market, works with the environment, works with so many things. So you can see how inflation and interest rate played a very big role in the decline of rent in some locations. In some markets, we saw some market declining in terms of rents. For example, some people in 2022 were paying as high as maybe $1,500 for a 1-bedroom, but we discovered that right now that's not the case. Another misconception that people normally have about multifamily is that it gives immediate results. Based on experience, multifamily is not a get quick rich scheme. It takes time. It's just like any other investment. It takes time. It's not something that you get rich from almost immediately. It might take you some years to get that return on investment. So that is why it's called an investment. It's not a rich scheme. In short, you should even run away from any investment that promises you a return in a short period of time. You should be worried about such kind of investment. Multifamily gives you returns, a very tangible, good returns, but it's not a rich, quick scheme. Multifamily is so passive. No, multifamily is passive in terms of how it's reported in tax, but in reality, it's not passive. There's a lot of work that goes in, but you reduce the effort that you put in if you have the right property manager. But regardless, you have the property manager, you also need to manage the property manager. As an asset manager, that is your role. So it's pretty much as active as any other business can be. Multifamily is not passive, especially if you are a general partner, you are a sponsor and all that. The only time it can be passive for you is when you are a limited partner. That is, you have limited liability, you don't have anything to do with the operations of the property. All you're doing is putting down your money and you're waiting for your returns. I did a video previously I broke down what multifamily syndication is about. Go and check on that video on my YouTube channel. You'll see how I broke it down and you know how passive or how active you can be depending on the role you are in. Another very popular misconception is that all you need for multifamily to be valuable is your net operating income. Now, there's some factors aside from net operating income that determines how valuable your property can be. Like I said, cap rate, the market cap rate can play a significant role. Comparable properties in that market can also play a significant role. The state of the economy can play a significant role. We saw that happen during the inflation and the interest rate bump. While the Fed was busy increasing interest rates, the cap rate was increasing. When I mean cap rate increasing, the higher the cap rate increase, the less valuable your property becomes. So for example, if your property was worth 14 million, because of interest rate, it kind of affected the way cap rate goes. So we saw cap rate increasing, and the more it increases, the less valuable your property becomes. So yes, not only NOI that is the most important thing. Other things are major factors of how valuable your property can be, not just the net operating income or just the cap rate. Other factors can also affect how valuable your property will look like. Another very sad but a realistic misconception that people have: I don't need to plan for my exit strategies from the beginning. Maybe 1 year to that's when I get to plan. No, I also did another video that states you make money when you buy, not when you sell. So you thinking that you can increase the value of your property just right at the time you want to sell, let's say 6 months before you sell, that's when you want to start working on improving your property. It might backfire on you because you actually start the process from the beginning and work your way forward in ensuring that it becomes profitable at the time of exit. So you need to plan for your exit strategy before that time, right from the beginning. Another very funny misconception I hear about multifamily is that you don't need any money. You just just get the property and it's easy. Truth be told, that is a very wrong misconception. You actually need money to invest in multifamily, whether you are a GP or whether you are a LP. So for a GP, if you are the guarantor on the loan, or you're the one guaranteeing the loan, the lender will need to be sure that you have about 5 to 10% of the loan amount in your account and you'll be investing that. So the misconception that you don't need money to invest as a guarantor to the loan is absolutely wrong. You actually need some amount, but regardless, you can invest a small portion compared to other investments in multifamily syndication. This is unique to syndication, so you actually need money for multifamily. Another misconception when it comes to the loan aspect of multifamily is that I don't need to have good credit before I can guarantee a loan. No, you actually need good credit, because the lender is going to check if you're credit worthy. Nobody wants to give you money if you're not credit worthy, so check your credit to be sure that you're credit worthy. And not just that, also check your liquidity to see if you have at least 5 to 10%. Not just that, experience also play a big role, being a guarantor, especially in an agency loan. So don't have the misconception that you don't need these things before you can guarantee a loan. No, that is why if you don't have this ability, you can partner with someone that is experienced, has the liquidity and has a net worth, and is also credit worthy to be on your team to help you carry out that. I hope I have given you little tips on some misconceptions that some people have about multifamily. They are not limited to all the things I said. There are so many other misconceptions, but these are some very obvious ones that I hear and I see and people talk about. I hope you enjoy this, and please have a wonderful day.